Chapter 67, Hundred-Eye Heavenly Ghost. Inside the gray space, Tongrenny and Taoist Closed Mountain were flying through the air as quickly as they could, covering vast distances in the blink of an eye. In particular, after Duan Renli's aura was snuffed out, both of them frantically unleashed secret techniques at heavy costs to further enhance their speed. Neither of them could even remember the last time that they had felt so horrified. In the entire spirit domain realm, there were only a small handful of beings that were comparable to them in terms of cultivation base, and beings of their caliber very rarely entered battles against one another, unless it was absolutely unavoidable. Fellow Taoist Closed Mountain, open up the spatial passageway right now. If we don't leave this domain, both of us are going to follow in fellow Taoist Duan's footsteps. Tongrenny urged as he took a fearful glance behind them. Taoist Closed Mountain nodded in response, then flipped a hand over to produce a palm-sized silver plate. Azure light then flashed from his other hand as he gently laid his palm down onto the round plate while chanting an incantation. A burst of silver light instantly erupted from the plate, and the light gradually grew brighter and brighter as the chanting continued. Countless silver runes began to emerge, and in the next instant, around a dozen beams of silver radiance erupted out of the silver light in unison, converging and intertwining in front of the two to form an indistinct silver diagram that was giving off spatial fluctuations. Right at this moment, a muffled thunderclap rang out from behind the two, and their expressions changed drastically upon hearing this. A speck of silver light appeared in the distance, and it was enlarging at an alarming rate, closing in on the duo at an incredible speed. "How much longer do you need?" Tongrenny asked. 10 seconds? No, 8. Taoist Closed Mountain hurriedly replied while continuing to make a rapid series of hand seals. Tongrenny hesitated momentarily, then gritted his teeth as he said, "I'll hold him off as best as I can." As soon as his voice trailed off, he began to chant an incantation, and at the same time, he tore off his black robe to expose his bare upper body. There was a dark red image of a ghostly creature emblazoned onto his frail-looking chest, and it was giving off crimson light that was constantly fluctuating in brightness, as if it were a violent living creature that was constantly struggling. There were several white objects on the ghostly creature's body that were giving off faint white light, suppressing the creature and keeping it subdued. Tongrenny took a deep breath, then made a hand seal before pointing a finger at the white objects in rapid succession. Bursts of dazzling white light erupted from the white objects, and a series of unintelligible white runes appeared. Immediately thereafter, the white objects sprang out of Tongrenny's chest, revealing themselves to be 13 white bone nails. As soon the bone nails flew out of Tongrenny's body, the image of the ghostly creature instantly let loose a roar of excitement, as if it were a terrifying demon that had finally been freed. Dazzling crimson light erupted out of Tongrenny's chest before enveloping his entire body, forming around a dozen incredibly thick pillars of crimson light. The pillars of light were giving off terrifying power, causing the surrounding space to churn and ripple incessantly. Within the crimson light, Tongrenny gave a muffled groan as a pained look appeared on his face. A string of cracks rang out from within his body, and his muscles squirmed as if they were living creatures as his body rapidly swelled in size. In the blink of an eye, he transformed into a giant, ghostly creature that was over 1,000 feet tall. The ghostly creature was rather similar to the blood heavenly ghost that Duan Renli had summoned. It was another heavenly ghost, but this one was even more terrifying. Mysterious black and red patterns were running all over the heavenly ghost's entire body. And what was even more harrowing was that its chest, abdomen, arms, legs, and even the backs of its feet were riddled with eyes. In total, the heavenly ghost possessed in excess of 100 eyes, all of which were constantly blinking and radiating faint black light, striking the beholder with a bone-chilling sensation. In particular, there was an especially massive vertical eye on his glabella that presented a harrowing sight to behold and forced the eyebrows of the eyes below it to the side. However, that eye was tightly shut. As soon as the 100-eye heavenly ghost appeared, Tongrenny's aura was elevated to unprecedented heights. causing the surrounding space to ripple and quiver. Right at this moment, a silver lightning bird that was over 100 feet in size appeared in front of the two of them amid a flash of silver lightning, and a hint of surprise appeared in its eyes at the sight of the 100-eye heavenly ghost that Tong Rene had transformed into. The lightning bird then spread its wings, and countless arcs of silver lightning appeared over its body amid a rumbling thunderclap as it abruptly made a forward-grabbing motion with one set of talons. A set of terrifying lightning talons that were around an acre in size appeared out of thin air before grabbing toward the 100-eye heavenly ghost. Even before the talons reached the 100-eye heavenly ghost, a burst of tremendous force came crashing down, causing the nearby space to constrict and tighten. In the face of such an attack, the 100-eye heavenly ghost didn't display any fear. It immediately made a hand seal, and close to half of the eyes on its body lit up in unison before releasing bursts of black light. Dozens of bursts of light intertwined to form a black net, which clashed with the giant lightning talons. In the instant that the two came into contact with one another, a burst of faint law fluctuations erupted out of the black net, and the lightning talons abruptly vanished on the spot, then appeared several thousand feet away as if by instantaneous teleportation. A burst of thunderous rumbling rang out as the lightning talons struck nothing but empty air, and countless arcs of silver lightning exploded through the air, causing the nearby space to churn and quiver violently. A hint of surprise flashed through the lightning bird's eyes, and it flapped its wings vigorously to release two crescent arcs of silver lightning, one of which appeared on the heavenly ghost's left, while the other appeared on its right, and both of them converged to attack the heavenly ghost from both sides. The eyes on the 100-eye heavenly ghost's body lit up once again, then released bursts of black light to oppose the two arcs of lightning. Faint law fluctuations erupted once again, and the two arcs of lightning also vanished into thin air before appearing several thousand feet away, where they crashed into one another before exploding violently. Taoist Closed Mountain was ecstatic to see this. 2 or 3 seconds had already passed, and through his wholehearted efforts, the silver diagram in the air was gradually becoming clearer and more substantial. The lightning bird stopped attacking as it folded its wings against its sides, then completely disregarded what Taoist Closed Mountain was doing as it said to the 100-eye heavenly ghost, "I didn't think that I would encounter anyone capable of wielding spatial power here in the spirit domain realm. You are truly worthy of your title as the #1 Grand Ascension cultivator of this realm. There is no vendetta between us, fellow Taoist Han. We only did this as we were instructed by our respective patriarchs in the immortal realm to capture you. Now that Duan Renli is already dead, I'm sure you've had a chance to vent your anger. I admit that your powers are far beyond ours, but those in the immortal realm won't just stand by and watch if you go too far and completely turn the spirit domain realm on its head," the 100-eye heavenly ghost said, and even though it was delivering a threat, it was doing so in an imploring tone. As expected, this really does have something to do with the patriarchs of your sect. However, they're all far away in the immortal realm, so they won't be able to do anything about this, the lightning bird said in a cold voice. The 100-eye heavenly ghost faltered slightly upon hearing this. You wouldn't dare. Before it had a chance to finish, the lightning bird suddenly raised its head before letting loose a sharp cry. Arcs of silver lightning lit up around it once again, then converged toward its talons to form an enormous spherical net of lightning. At the same time, a series of strange runes that were flashing with silver light flew out of its talons before vanishing into the net of lightning. All of a sudden, the arcs of lightning on the silver net all disintegrated silently to release bursts of scintillating silver radiance, which then abruptly condensed to form 2 silver balls of lightning. A layer of silver runes was distributed over the surface of each ball of lightning, and a burst of dull rumbling rang out as thin arcs of silver lightning erupted in all directions, releasing a terrifying aura that threatened to destroy everything in the path of the balls of lightning. This was none other than Han Li's lightning wield technique. The balls of lightning were formed by the lightning bird's silver lightning, which was completely different from the devil vanquishing divine lightning he had used in the past. 2. The 100-eye heavenly ghost let loose a low roar, and all of the red and black patterns on its body lit up in unison, while all of its eyes sprang open at once. The lightning bird raised its talons, and the 2 silver balls of lightning were instantly sent flying through the air, reaching the heavenly ghost at an incredible speed before exploding violently. A pair of scintillating silver suns appeared in the sky before rapidly expanding outward as arcs of lightning flashed in all directions. Countless silver runes appeared on the surface of the silver suns as they came crashing down while releasing a devastating destructive aura. Even though Tong Rene was already expecting a powerful onslaught from Hanli, he was still astonished by just how fearsome the attack was. The 100-eye heavenly ghost let loose a fierce roar as all of its eyes opened up wide, so much so that the corners of the eyes were tearing open slightly. Bursts of black light that were close to twice as thick as the previous ones shot forth before intertwining to form a giant black net. At the same time, the vertical eye on its forehead abruptly sprang open, revealing a huge eye that was as black as ink. A thick pillar of black light shot out of the vertical eye before vanishing into the black net, which instantly transformed into a black light barrier that enshrouded the heavenly ghost from head to toe. The 2 dazzling silver suns descended from the heavens before crashing into the black light barrier, and the light barrier immediately began to glow brightly while giving off powerful law fluctuations. The light on close to half of the 2 silver suns instantly congealed as if it had frozen solid, but the other half remained completely unaffected as it continued to descend amid a burst of violent rumbling. The black light barrier buzzed and trembled incessantly, and light was flashing erratically on its surface, but it refused to be destroyed. Thus, an impasse ensued. Right at this moment, a thunderous roar rang out from within the black light barrier, and the barrier abruptly swelled drastically in size as countless black runes appeared on its surface. The pair of silver suns flashed before suddenly vanishing on the spot, then reappeared in the distance. Immediately thereafter, the 2 silver suns exploded to form a pair of pillars of lightning, which erupted into the heavens to punch gargantuan holes through the gray clouds with ease. At the same time, a pair of bottomless holes were also blasted into the ground. Enormous power fluctuations erupted from the giant lightning pillars, sweeping up gusts of fierce wind within several dozen kilometers of the explosion. At the same time, the black light barrier also disintegrated to reveal the 100-eye heavenly ghost, and it appeared to be in terrible condition. Not only was it panting heavily, all of its eyes were half closed, and the black light that they were giving off had become extremely faint. It was clear that they had been severely overexerted. Taoist Closed Mountain was astonished by what he had just witnessed, but at the same time, the spatial passageway was about to take shape. With one final string of incantation seals, the silver diagram in the sky began to glow brightly, then took on a clear and substantial form, revealing itself to be an image of a silver moon hanging in the sky. For more information on the lightning wield technique, please refer to RMJI Chapter 4173, Lightning Wield Technique. For more information on Devil Vanquishing Divine Lightning, please refer to RMJI Chapter 411, Cultivating Bamboo.